let us discuss the therapeutic action of some important classes of drugs. That is, how these drugs function in the body and overcome the problems that are to be treated, right? So, under this category, let us begin our discussion with the first type of drugs, that is antacids. Antacids. From the name itself, you can gather that they act against acidity produced in the body. So, we know that hydrochloric acid is secreted in the stomach, and overproduction of this acid in the stomach leads to a condition which is called as hyperacidity. So, antacids are used to treat hyperacidity. What is hyperacidity? It is overproduction of acid in the stomach. Now, this overproduction of acid can lead to pain and irritation, and also in extreme cases it leads to ulcers, and sometimes the only treatment for it is removal of the affected part of the stomach. So, this acidity problem can create such severe problems. Now, for a very long period of time, till almost 1970s, the only treatment for acidity was giving the patient or administering the patient with sodium bicarbonate, or it's called sodium hydrogen carbonate, or a mixture of aluminum and magnesium hydroxides. So, these were the only antacids that were used for treatment of acidity or hyperacidity. So, let us write down the names of the commonly used antacids. They are sodium hydrogen carbonate. These are mild bases, sodium hydrogen carbonate, or a mixture of magnesium hydroxide and aluminum hydroxide. So, almost ALOH twice. So, almost till 1970, these were the only drugs that were used for treatment of acidity, and we said acidity leads to irritation, pain in the stomach, and also sometimes in extreme cases ulcers, and the treatment may even involve, in very severe cases, the removal of the affected part of the stomach. Now, this was a treatment, but there was some problem with the use of these drugs. For example, if excess of sodium hydrogen carbonate is used in the treatment, it makes the stomach alkaline. We said these are mild bases, so the stomach, it leads to over alkalinity. So, alkalinity of the stomach. So, when is this condition obtained? When we use excess of sodium hydrogen carbonate to treat acidity, then the stomach becomes alkaline, because these are mild bases. Now, if the stomach is highly alkaline, then it triggers the production of more acid, and that aggravates the problem further. So, this is one disadvantage of using sodium hydrogen carbonate. Now, if we take the mixture of magnesium hydroxide and aluminum hydroxide, these do not create this problem, because these are insoluble and they never let the pH go beyond neutrality. Neutral pH is 7, so beyond that pH never rises into the alkaline range, so that problem is not there. But the problem with these drugs is that they only treat the symptoms. So, the burning sensation and all that subside a little bit with the use of these drugs, but they do not tackle the cause. So, that is the greatest disadvantage of these antacids, tackle cause. So, the cause of acidity is not taken care of or fought against by these drugs. It is only the symptoms that are prevented by the use of these antacids. So, a major breakthrough in medication for acidity came through the discovery that histamine. So, histamine, this is a hormone which is responsible for the production of pepsin and HCl in the stomach. So, the major breakthrough in designing drugs for acting against hyperacidity came with the discovery that histamine is responsible for the synthesis of pepsin and hydrochloric acid in the stomach. So, it is after all this acid which is producing the condition which is called as hyperacidity. So, that is why they designed drugs, a particular drug called cimetidine. It is called Dimetapp. This is a trade name, Dimetapp. So, cimetidine or Dimetapp was the drug designed to prevent the natural action of this histamine and thereby reducing the production of acid in the stomach. And in this way they were able to control the condition of hyperacidity. So, this is the first drug which was produced synthetically to tackle this condition on hyperacidity. So, this was the largest selling drug for several years till another drug called ranitidine was discovered, and that common name is Zantac. So, Dimetapp and Zantac are two very effective drugs that are used in the treatment of hyperacidity. So, what do these drugs do? They prevent the action of histamine in synthesizing hydrochloric acid in the stomach. In that way, this condition of hyperacidity is well treated nowadays. So, antacids are the drugs that are used to fight against acidity of the stomach. And what problems are created by acidity of the stomach? It produces pain as well as irritation in the stomach. And in extreme cases, we have said it also leads to ulcers, and affected areas sometimes even have to be removed. So, that is the condition of hyperacidity. For a long period till 1970, the only drugs used were sodium hydrogen carbonate, the aqueous solution, or a mixture of magnesium and aluminum hydroxide. As we have already said, excess usage of sodium hydrogen carbonate led to alkalinity of the stomach. If the stomach becomes too alkaline, then it triggers the production of more acid, and that further activates the acidic condition of the stomach. And that problem is not faced with the use of the mixture of magnesium and aluminum hydroxide, because these being insoluble, they do not raise the pH beyond neutral value. So, alkalinity question does not arise with these, but even though that problem does not arise, the main problem with these antacids is that they only treat the symptoms of acidity and they do not tackle the actual cause of acidity. Then the major breakthrough came with the discovery of these two drugs, cimetidine and ranitidine, called by the names Dimetapp and Zantac. These drugs directly influence the production of acid in the stomach, that is, they prevent the action of histamine in producing the acid, and in that way this condition of hyperacidity is treated using these particular drugs. So, this is the first category of drugs and their therapeutic action. Next let us talk about another class of drugs called as antihistamines. Now, the cimetidine or Tegamet, this particular drug interferes or prevents the action of histamine on reacting with its receptor present in the wall of the stomach. So, cimetidine drug targets or prevents the interaction of histamine with the receptors that are present in the wall of stomach. So the actual drug action is like this. This drug, which was the first to be designed and most effective in treating hyperacidity, it is also called by the name Tegamet, and this targets or prevents the interaction of histamine with the receptors that are present in the stomach. Now because of that, what happens? The amount of acid that is produced in the stomach decreases. So this drug is directly targeting the cause of hyperacidity, and that's why it will be more effective definitely than the earlier used antacids. Now histamine has the following structure. Now this is the structure of histamine, which is responsible for secretion of the acid in the stomach. It has this 5-membered ring containing 2 nitrogens and an amino group attached to a 2-carbon chain, right. So this is the structure of histamine, and this is the substance that is responsible for releasing acid and pepsin in the stomach. So discovery of this particular fact led to designing of that drug, which is called as cimetidine, or commonly called as Tegamet, not Dimetapp, Tegamet. And this, what it does, it prevents the interaction of this histamine with the receptors that are present in the stomach, as a result of which lesser amount of acid is produced in the stomach, and that takes care of the cause of hyperacidity, and the patient is cured of hyperacidity. So this was the largest selling drug in the world at that time, till another drug by the name of ranitidine or Zantac was discovered, which has a similar effect on the action of histamine. So this is how the drug action, the therapeutic action of cimetidine and ranitidine on the histamine, they prevent the interaction of histamine with the receptors present in the wall of the stomach. So this is our discussion about antacids, which are drugs used for the treatment of the condition called hyperacidity. Now let us discuss the second class of drugs and their therapeutic action. As we said, we will talk about antihistamines. We have just seen the structure of histamine. It has that 5-membered ring with 2 nitrogens and 2-carbon chain with an amino group at the end. Now this histamine is responsible for several effects in the body. It is not just involved in the secretion of acid in the stomach along with pepsin, but it performs other functions also in the body. So let us see what is this histamine and what functions it performs. Now histamine is a potent vasodilator. And it has an action on the contraction and expansion or relaxation of the muscles. So it has an effect on contraction of muscles and relaxation of muscles. So some muscles it contracts and some muscles it relaxes. So relaxing of muscles. Now if we talk about contraction, it contracts the fine muscles that are present in the bronchi and in the gut. So it is responsible for contraction of the fine muscles or smooth muscles. They are called as the smooth muscles. Smooth muscles of gut and bronchi. This is one of the activities of histamine. Whereas it relaxes other muscles, like for example the muscles lining the fine blood vessels. So what it does, it relaxes the muscles lining fine blood vessels. So that's why it's called a vasodilator. Fine blood vessels. And not only that, it is also responsible for the nasal congestion that we observe during common colds. So, your nose gets blocked whenever you have a cold. That blocking of the nose is called nasal congestion. So, there is congestion of the nostrils during common cold. Now, that is also an effect produced due to the action of histamine with its receptors. So, another effect produced by histamine is nasal congestion. Nasal congestion during common colds. Common cold, influenza or common cold. And not only that, it is also responsible for the allergic response to pollen. Very often when we inhale or when we breathe strongly near some flowers, the pollen affect our nostrils and we start sneezing. So, that is called as allergic reaction or response to pollen. Now, that is also due to the action of this particular hormone, that is histamine. So, what is that? The allergic response to pollen is another effect produced by histamine. So, histamine is not only involved in the production of acid and pepsin in the stomach, which we saw under antacids, but it is also responsible for these various effects. Now, antihistamines are the drugs which are designed to interfere with the natural action of histamine. How do they interfere? By competing with histamine for the binding sites of the receptors where this particular histamine is producing its effect. So, what is the therapeutic action of antihistamines? Their action is to interfere with the natural action of histamine when it interacts with the receptors. That means they will preferentially be bound to the binding sites of the receptors in preference to histamine and thereby blocking its activity, and that is how these various problems can be taken care of. So, what is the therapeutic action of antihistamines? They are drugs which are designed to compete with histamine in binding to the binding sites of the receptors wherever histamine is exerting its effect. So, that is how antihistamines are able to be used as useful drugs, and that is their therapeutic action. Now, two such drugs here used are brompheniramine. So, one of the examples for antihistamines is brompheniramine. This is called Dimetapp. So, that is a very commonly used antihistamine drug. Terfenadine is another. Terfenadine. This is another example for an antihistamine drug. These two, that is brompheniramine and terfenadine, both of them compete with histamine for the binding sites of the receptors where histamine is exerting its effect, and that is their therapeutic action, right? And now we have seen that antacid drugs also act on the receptors of histamines, whereas these anti-allergic drugs are also affecting histamine. So, how is it that these particular drugs, that is Dimetapp and Seldane, this is also called as Seldane, common name. So, Dimetapp and Seldane are also having their influence on the action of histamine, and antacid drugs are also having an action on the action of histamine. Then why is it that these drugs are not producing acid in the stomach? That is because the receptors in the case of antacid drugs are different from the receptors on which these particular drugs act. So these receptors are very specific in their function. So the drugs that are used as antacids, they work on different receptors, and these anti-allergic drugs, they work on different receptors. That is the reason why one does not interfere with the function of the other. So this is about antihistamines and how they therapeutically act inside the body. So what is their therapeutic action? They compete with histamine for the binding sites of the receptors and thereby reduce the action of histamine. Now let us go on to a third class of drugs and their therapeutic action. These are neurologically active drugs. Neurologically active drugs. That is, they directly affect the problems created due to the malfunctioning of the nervous system. So that's why they are called as neurologically active drugs. Now these drugs act, or their therapeutic action is in interfering with the message transfer mechanism from the nerve to the receptor. So their therapeutic action you can express in a line as interfere with the message transfer mechanism. Message transfer. We have seen how chemical messengers are used to transfer messages from different parts of the body to the receptors that are embedded in the cell membrane, isn't it? So these drugs which are neurologically active, they usually interfere with the message transfer mechanism, that is the communication system, transfer mechanism between the nerve and receptor. Now these neurologically active drugs are classified into two broad categories. One is based on their action. Tranquilizers is one of them, tranquilizers, and the second are called as analgesics or painkillers, right? So neurologically active drugs are classified broadly based on their action into tranquilizers and analgesics. Let us understand in detail the action of what are called as tranquilizers. What are these tranquilizers? They are a class of drugs which are used for the treatment of stress. So whenever people feel stressed out, they reach out for a tranquilizer. So these are drugs which relieve stress. And not only that, they are also used for the treatment of some mild and sometimes even severe mental diseases. So when the brain is affected, the drugs that are used they are called as tranquilizers. So what are tranquilizers? They are a class of drugs. What do? They relieve, or they are used for the treatment of stress and some mental diseases. Now how do they act? They relieve what is called as stress. They relieve stress, anxiety, excitement, irritability, excitement, irritability. Sometimes we feel very irritated. That is called irritability. So all these symptoms can be treated by the use of this particular class of drugs called as tranquilizers. And what do? They help in relieving all these conditions of stress, anxiety, excitement, irritability, etc. by producing or inducing a sense of well-being. So these tranquilizers, they are an important class of drugs which are used for the treatment or relief from stress, anxiety, excitement and irritability. How do they do that? They do this by creating or inducing a sense of well-being, and that's how the patient is relieved of the tension and anxiety. right? Now these tranquilizers form important components of the sleeping pills that usually people take when they are anxious or tensed up, right? So they form important components of sleeping pills. Now a large variety of tranquilizers are available in the market and they function by different mechanisms. Now to understand their therapeutic action, we should know about what is called as noradrenaline. Let us see what this noradrenaline does in the body. It is a hormone, noradrenaline. So in order to understand the therapeutic action of tranquilizers, let us understand the action of noradrenaline in the body. Now this noradrenaline is a neurotransmitter. That is, it helps in the transmission of messages. Neurotransmitter through the nervous system. Now due to some reason, if the level of noradrenaline in the body becomes less, low level of noradrenaline in the body leads to slower transfer of messages in the nervous system, using the nervous system, because of which the person suffers from what is called as depression. So very often you hear people are depressed or they are subjected to this condition which is called as depression. So this depression arises due to the low level of this particular hormone, that is noradrenaline. So the message sending capacity becomes slower because of the low level of noradrenaline, and that is the reason why the person feels depressed and we say the condition is a depression condition. Now under these conditions we require drugs which are called as antidepressants. Now what do these antidepressants do? They inhibit or they slow down the activity of enzymes which are responsible for the degradation of noradrenaline in the body. That means those reactions in which this noradrenaline is degraded, those reactions are slowed down, as a result of which this particular hormone or noradrenaline is metabolized slowly, slow metabolism. That means the degradation of the noradrenaline that is produced in the body becomes slower, because these drugs which are called as antidepressants, they slow down the metabolism of noradrenaline, because of which what happens? So they are degraded slowly, that means they remain active with the receptors for a longer time. So this noradrenaline remains active for longer periods of time. Because of which the condition of depression is counteracted. So the counteraction to the condition of depression is caused by the active nature of noradrenaline for a longer time, because these particular drugs, they slow down the degradation process of noradrenaline. So and that is how they are able to tackle the condition of depression. And some common antidepressant drugs are